Yeah, I think to get started, perhaps you just want to talk about how you started.
How I got started.
This is progressed and just sort of how everything evolved you.
What I love to do is go on vacation. So my mentor said to find something you love to do and find a way to get paid to do it. So I was like, all right, well, I love to go on vacation. So I better figure out a way to get paid to go on vacation. What I did next is I banged on doors. I actually went to tour companies' offices and said, okay, hire me. I ended up doing odd jobs here and there. I ended up getting hired with Princess Tours, which is the tour company of Princess Cruises. Did tours in Alaska, the Canadian Rockies. I did historic America tours on the East Coast. I did national parks tours out west with a different company. And I moved between Atlanta, LA, and Seattle during different parts of the year, living out my dream job. And it really was, and I really missed being on the road. That was basically doing motor coach tours. I was the guy on the microphone, making stuff up as I went through different towns and stuff like that. So what I decided to do was to do a cruise. And called it the Groove Cruise. This was in 2004, 9 years ago. And I had 125 people that went on that cruise from the 375-person email list that I had. I saw how much money the travel agency made off of me, who was a friend of mine, and decided, this is it. I gotta stop traveling around. I gotta stop, doing my thing and settle down, and start my own company. So I did that in Atlanta. I started the Groove Cruise. I always had this vision of what it would be if I owned the whole cruise ship. And I had all my friends on there and could basically dictate everything that happened on the ship. So that was always my dream when I started the Groove Cruise. Some very low points as well, when I started the company, I didn't have any money. So I had taken out all my 401k from Georgia Pacific, and I basically paid off my credit cards so I could start the company, so I could put 100% into it. So I had a $10,000 limit on one, and then I took all my 401k out and said, all right, we're going, let's do this. Ran out of money again, 4 years later, ended up continuing my company, continuing my dream, ended up moving down to Miami to be closer to the cruise lines. Plus I love the beach. I went to school in Australia for a semester. And when I moved down here with my business colleague Liz, we didn't have any money. I couldn't afford a apartment for the most part. So I ended up getting a job at the Chamber. So many of you know this. I worked at the Miami Beach Chamber for almost a year selling memberships while I was still building my company on the side at nights and weekends. And Liz was basically running the company. So eventually we came out of the New York Times, and some of the Chamber staff were like, who the heck is this guy? He's working for the Chamber, he's in the New York Times. And so eventually departed from the Chamber, the business continued to grow. Had some issues with an investor, and ended up working that all out. And about 3 years ago, I finally accomplished my crazy dream of chartering a cruise ship. And it was called the Groove Cruise. It's an electronic dance music. It's all DJ based, ultra. It's not really ultra because it's an older crowd. It's 31 is our average age. So did that. It was amazing. It was the best experience ever. My parents came, even, believe it or not. And it was just euphoric. I couldn't even believe it was happening because it's something that no one in the world had ever done before. It was just such an outlandish idea. It didn't even make any sense from the business perspective to do what I did. So the next year we chartered again, and now we are today where the Groove Cruise just came out last week as the #1 place in the world to get your groove on the Travel Channel. So we have another cruise called Aventura Dance Cruise, which is salsa, bachata, merengue. It's a Latin dance, which is in November. We have Groove Cruise out of Miami, Groove Cruise out of LA. Carnival, Groove Cruise out of Miami is the Norwegian Pearl. And then we also have Shiprocked, which is a rock cruise, which is going to be next January on the Norwegian Pearl. So, in a nutshell, it's been an interesting ride. There's definitely, I guess entrepreneurs have a high propensity to risk, where they can get through the hard times and see the vision of where they want to go. And, even to this day, I'm just taking just really crazy risks doing charters. I mean, it costs like $1 million to charter a ship at least, and to do these events, to pull these events off, it's crazy. So it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and I'm very thankful for my team in the room. You guys, thanks for coming. I wouldn't be sitting up here if it weren't for you guys. So thank you. So we have Wet Travel, which is the top. That's a travel agency. So we do the group cruise and a few of all those other cruises that I talked about, and some destination weddings, we still do those. And then the other company is Wet Magazine, which is a travel lifestyle magazine. And Steve, my lawyer, helps put all this stuff together. And then
I'll draw a diagram.
right, he'll draw an all diagram, yeah. So then we have Jet Set Republic, which is a tour company. So we have tours like nightlife tours to Ibiza, Rio for Carnival, New Year's, Colombia. And then we have Cruise Event GPS, which is a new company. And so we do corporate cruises with Cruise Event GPS. So me and my partner, so I have partners in that company as well as Jet Set Republic, because I don't know how to run these types of companies. They're completely different. So what I did is I started the company with someone who knows what they're doing. The difference between us and like Cruise.com or Travelocity is we're not a normal travel agency. We're like a travel event hybrid. So we take the ship and use it as a venue and create really cool, unique experiences. And then Wet Foundation, which is a foundation that I started at the end of last year. And the goal with the foundation is twofold. So when I charter these ships, there are a minimum of 2,000 people, up to close to 3,000, another one. So average like 2,500 people that we have going to the Bahamas or going to Mexico. So what we wanted to do was impact the destinations that we go to. So we have all the people that are coming bring articles of clothing or toys and things like that, and then we deliver it to a charity in the destination that we go to, a shelter or so forth like that. And that's one side of it. The other side is the local programs in South Florida. The first one, we're partnering with the school in Miami Beach, and I can't remember the name of it, but we have a program called Community Captains to find community captains. And it's kids between the ages of 10 to 14, underprivileged kids, and it's going to start at the beginning of the school year in August. When they register, or the parents can register them for the program, or the principal or the teacher, and there's certain criteria that they have to meet. There's 7 points of criteria that they have to meet. If they meet those criteria, they can earn a WET award. There's going to be a WET day, and if they meet those criteria, we're going to basically take them and their family on a cruise or to a resort. But it's going to be a cruise in the beginning, of course. So during the cruise, we'll teach them leadership classes, and it's not where you're from, it's where you're going, and some stories of people who came from, upbringings that weren't so great, that are doing amazing things and are very, very successful. So that's the WET Foundation. So as long as you're moving forward, screwing up, making mistakes, because the more mistakes you make, the more you learn. I've always believed that, like, you don't learn, sitting in the stand, you learn by being on the court. You learn by doing things, by trials and tribulations. So that's something that I've always believed in is failing forward. I guess is another way to put it. Yeah, we haven't spent $1 on advertising in years, really, and sometimes the old school of thought, when they hear that, they're like, what are you talking about? You don't spend any money in advertising. How do people find out about you? And we do spend a little bit of money on Facebook. Let me just clear that out, because we do spend a little bit of money promoting posts and stuff like that. And we believe in pull marketing, not push marketing. Push marketing means like putting ads in magazines and doing things like that. We believe in pull marketing. So you create this company or this event or this thing where just everyone is so excited about it. Everyone has to know about it. And once people attend that event or attend that, they're so blown away that they have to go next year. They have to tell their friends. They have to do that. So
That's funny. I see you Because Facebook and Twitter and Vine and Tumblr and after a while, there's so many different avenues for
It's exhausting.
promotion that it's all the same, right? It's kind of like,
Right. So how do you manage all of that? And with the Tourism and Hospitality Council, we do a webinar. We've been doing about once every other month. We did one on managing social media sites and how to do all that stuff. So Facebook currently today is the one that you want to focus on the most because that's where the people are the most. And then you have Twitter, which you can post, and they're all different. So Twitter you can post 20 times a day and it's okay, it's fine. Facebook you don't want to post too much, like 2 a day or something like that. He's up to 4 instead max. But sometimes that's overkill too. And then you have like Vine, I don't even know about Vine yet. Rafi's on that. Instagram's another one, you can post tons of Instagram stuff. So yeah, how do you manage all that stuff? We use Hootsuite. We use that a lot for managing your tweets. I try to find the right people that don't need my. I have oversight with them. Like I'll talk to them once or twice a week. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? What do you need? How can I help? So when I find the right partner, that's kind of with one of my companies or the right team members like Antolene and Rafi, then that makes a world of difference. If you don't have the right people, then I couldn't do all this crazy stuff.
I was wondering, as an entrepreneur, how you balance the whole process of diversifying and versus focusing. Because like you can see a lot of what you do is kind of like the same process. Okay, I have this great idea, I want to go for it, but sometimes you just have to put a handbrake on one thing and focus on the other thing.
I agree completely. And I struggle with that, and that's one of my difficulties, let's put it that way, is that I start too much stuff. And then what happens is when you put all your energy here, this one goes down, and then you're kind of plugging this hole, and you fix that one, and then this one's broken again, and then this one's broken again, and then your relationship isn't balanced, and then you're not focusing on that. So it's a constant balance. I'm working on it every day. We're all unique. We all have our own strengths, and we're also not good at things. And I'm not a great executor. My team is great executors. When I look to bring someone on, I don't want somebody like me. And I think a lot of times companies do that, is they hire people like them. And that's not what you want to do. You want somebody that's going to challenge you, that's going to say, no, that's not the right way, or you need to do it this way. In life, you only want to focus on what you're good at and your strengths. And when you're aligned with that, and you're in a position in a company or that's aligned with your strengths, and everyone in the company is aligned in the right positions with the right strengths of what they're good at, the sky's the limit. It's my passion, I love it. So it's not really work to me. It's a fun. I'm doing my own thing. So it's like, it's not really work to me.
is there anything you want to leave us with? Any kind of message for everyone?
Just figure out what your passions are and figure out a way to get paid to do it.